Hello and welcome, and thank you for accessing this on-demand CPD session. We're going to provide a summary of the changes in assessment of the Model 5 VCERTs, comparing the requirements and regulations for the non-examined assessment. On the screen now, you'll see what we're going to cover in the session. The information used to inform this session is available in the VCERT qualification documents. They've been brought together from the specification, tutor guidance and assessment documents available to our providers on the NCFE website. So let's begin with an overview of the qualification, and we'll compare the Model 4 VCERT qualifications with Model 5 as we go through. So starting with the subject areas included in the previous NCFE Model 4 qualifications and also the updated Model 5 areas. We no longer offer the performance skills VCERT, but we have added the subjects of sports studies, food and cookery, creative design and production, child development, health and social care, music technology, interactive media and graphic design. Now, this slide provides an overview of the technical awards along with the weightings for each award. For Model 4, this was a vocational qualification which was designed to be completed by Level 1 and Level 2 learners. So if you had a mixed ability class, they would be taught the same content. The grading covered pass, merit, distinction and distinction star of both Level 1 and Level 2. There was an exam and an internally assessed but externally quality assured synoptic project. The contents of both covered Level 1 and Level 2 learners. They will be given the same exam in the same synoptic project. For Model 5 at Level 1, the grading covers pass, merit and distinction, and at Level 2, the grading covers pass, merit and distinction star. The Level 1 distinction star was removed to decompress grade boundaries. The weightings for the majority of the quals can be seen at 40% for the exam and 60% for the NEA. However, for child development and health and social care, the weightings are 50-50. Model 5 VCERTs count towards Progress 8 and fit into the open group or third bucket for the performance points. This group can hold up to 3 qualifications depending on the qualification size and/or its weightings. VCERTs can be delivered alongside other qualifications, but please do bear in mind the discount codes applicable to each subject area. So for example, if you were doing a traditional GCSE in sports PE, and we were also delivering our technical award in health and fitness, the same learners then only have one of those will count towards the performance tables as their content is very similar. All technical awards now have a terminal assessment rule as stipulated by Ofqual and the Department of Education. This means that the external examination must be taken at the end of the qualification after the non-examined assessment has been completed. Model 4 could have been delivered over 1, 2 or 3 years, and the same can be said for the Model 5 VCERTs, but we don't recommend the 1-year option because the NEA and the EA must be sat in the same series. Completing all the delivery and both assessments in 1 year is not advised. Please also note the point about registering learners for the assessment, especially if you choose a 3-year delivery model. Now we're going to share some key dates to help with planning, starting with the delivery of the qualifications starting in September of year 1 and teaching the content throughout the first year, carrying out formative assessment activities to allow for the tracking of the learner's progress. Moving into year 2, and early in this year, the live NEA will be released, and we suggest starting your delivery of the NEA in the January of this year to allow teachers to manage revision and assessment preparation activities. Once all the NEA tasks have been completed, they should be marked using the provided marking grid, and all the marks then need to be entered into the exams portal by the 30th of April. The moderation process will then take place, and providers will be given the learner's work, which will need to be uploaded. It's therefore a good idea to have a folder with electronic evidence for each learner ready for upload in early May. The learners will then sit their exams in June, and the results will be published in August with the GCSE results.
Okay, let's now have a look at the assessments of the Model 5 NEA. If you delivered or assessed the Model 4 research, it should feel familiar, as it's familiar to the Model 4 Signposting project. It consists of a number of tasks which the learners will complete under controlled conditions. We'll now run through the general principles of the NEA. It's a practical project-based assignment split into a number of tasks. These numbers can differ from various subject areas. It should be delivered during the window at a time when your learners are ready and after you've delivered all the course content. It is marked numerically by subject specialist provider staff. Using the mark scheme, which is published at the same time as the live brief. Once all the marks have been uploaded to the portal, remote moderation of the marks take place. The NEA must be sat in the same assessment series as the exam, or EA. There is no opportunity to resit individual assessments, and the overall learner mark combines the two assessments, the NEA and the exam. Grades are then awarded, taking into account any scaling requirements. Please be aware that the notional grading boundaries are set at the time of moderation for the series and are published on results day in the Chief Examiner and the Chief Moderator report. These can be used to help predict grades after complete informative assessment, but could change each year. The content of this slide is taken from the tutor guidance document available to providers delivering the qualification on the NCFE website. It can be found on the subject-specific pages in the support materials section, and there are guidance documents for each research area. The live brief is published at the start of each year. It is downloaded from the exams portal. Learners should not start the NEA until teaching and learning of all the content has been delivered to the learners. This will ensure that your learners are in the best position to complete the NEA successfully. It should not be used as a sample assessment. It is the live, summative assessment, and providers must adhere to the assessment regulations when providing learner access to the tasks. Only the sample assessment materials on the qualification page on our website may be used for practice assessments. These will be updated annually on related qualification pages. Prior to commencing the formal hours of the NEA time, learners should be allocated 2 hours of the preparation and resource time. During this time, learners may have access to the project brief, but may not access the NEA tasks. This 2-hour period is entirely open book where learners can access their teaching and learning materials, textbooks, internet, intranet, and other published materials to inform their path. This is a different approach to Model 4, which was open book throughout the Signposting project. From this, they should develop their own unique resource pack, which should be used as their source of information when completing the NEA. Providers must be aware that templates for this may not be provided in the live assessment. Providers could discuss how their learners could structure their resource packs in revision and preparing for the assessment sessions. and the learners could share ideas in preparation sessions regarding production of their resource pack. This collaborative approach is only allowed during the teaching and learning sessions and must not relate to the live assessment brief. Please refer to the guidance regarding the resource pack format shown on the screen now and available in the tutor guidance documents. The material developed in the preparation and research time may not be submitted as assessment evidence. Text and images can be copied and pasted into the learner's resource pack. However, if it is used for reference in the learner's work, text should then be in the learner's own words and the source used be referenced as well as seen on this previous screen. The learner's resource pack must be retained by the centre and uploaded with the learner evidence of the NCFE if selected for moderation. NCFE has set the assessment timings as maximum times for each task. Your plan can be amended to allow for some flexibility for learners entitled to additional time as part of approved reasonable adjustment and support centres in the planning and administration of the tasks around any timetabling issues or to accommodate learners who may have missed previous sessions due to absence. Please remember that the declaration of authenticity should be also provided. Learners should start each individual task at the same time, with the exception of reasonable adjustments, and they may use some or all of the time provided for each task up to the maximum allowed time. To facilitate planning, individual maximum task times are provided, and these should be applied to the cohort as a whole. To aid flexibility, learners are allowed to use any remaining time allocated to one task to rework previous tasks. However, the maximum NEA time must not be exceeded. Centres will be required to keep a record of their assessment timetable and learner attendance and make it available to NCFE if requested. Some tasks within the NEA permit the use of the internet access to support the completion of the task. In this case, learners are required to submit a copy of their internet browsing history to ensure that the controls around the internet use are adhered to. Acceptable formats include a screenshot of the learner's history, an IT-based report, or a typewritten list of website access during the session. Please also ensure regulations for the individual tasks are adhered to. For example, if Task 3 allows the internet use, but Task 2 does not, providers will need to ensure that the learners have the appropriate access for each task. An example record of the internet browsing history can be seen on the screen now. All the records of the learner browser history should be retained with all other learner evidence for moderation purposes. The resource learners will need are listed on the tasks. Learners must submit their task evidence at the end of each task session for their teachers, and providers must ensure that learners' work and any other assessment materials are taken away by the learner at the end of each session. Please remember that classroom-based learning materials are not permitted during the supervised sessions for the NEA, but the pack developed in the initial preparation and resource time is allowed. This differs from Model 4 as the previous NEA was open book. Learners must complete the NEA tasks in order. Task 2 must follow Task 1 and so on to support their ability to meet the requirements of the task. And all learners should start each task at the same time. This is to prevent unfair learner advantage, but some flexibility is permitted to accommodate learners who have missed sessions due to absence. It is permitted that learners revisit previous tasks within the NEA, providing they do not exceed the maximum time allowed, should they want to make an amendment or slight addition. However, any practical tasks must not be repeated, as this may create an unfair advantage. Centres should ensure that learners understand their options to amend the parts of the NEA. The maximum time includes reading the requirements of the brief, task instructions, and responding to the task. Please check your subject-specific tutor guidance for further detail. There are some additional controls to consider, and we'll provide an overview of some examples. They will differ depending on each subject area. For example, if learners use their own laptop or device, they must ensure that the internet access is disabled when appropriate, and learners must not be able to develop their own task responses further outside of the supervised assessment conditions. It is permitted and advised that centres split tasks into smaller sessions depending upon the needs of the learners. Providers must ensure that all learner work is stored securely throughout the assessment window. Okay, we'll now move on to marking of the Model 5 NEA. Centres will be provided with task-specific marking grids, which must be used by all staff marking the NEA work. Assessors could apply the marking grid to work as learners complete each task, but be aware that until all tasks are complete, the learners may revisit and update them. It is important to note that no task feedback or guidance should be provided to the learners during the assessment window. This is a change from the Model 4 regulations. The guidance for marking the task can be seen on the screen now. Markers should use a bottom-up approach using the overall quality of the responses to inform the marks awarded. And if a learner responses covers aspects at different levels, use a best fit approach. NCFE produce standardization packs for each subject area, and they are published on the website at the same time as the NEA. Centres must download and complete the tasks designed to support markers to ensure their marking decisions align with the moderation. These activities include anonymized learner work from the previous session for authenticity. NCFE offers training for marking. Please refer to Preparing for Moderation page on our website. The deadline date for entering learner marks onto the NCFE portal is the 30th of April. Please remember to put DNA, did not attend, for any learners who have been withdrawn. Once all marks and/or DNAs have been entered, a moderation sample plan will be generated, but all marks must be entered to the portal before this can happen. On the 1st of May, a sample list of learners for moderation will be available in the portal. This will be open for 3 working days to allow you to upload the evidence for learners in the plan. It is important that you use the checklist available in the assessment packs to ensure that all the required documents are uploaded, as this can cause delays for moderation. Remember to click the Submit for Marking button when all evidence is uploaded, and use the checklist to ensure everything needed has been uploaded, so your learners are not disadvantaged. Please check for correspondence from NCFE during the moderation activity, as missing evidence will be communicated with each centre. Our Preparing for Moderation page on the website contains useful information on accessing materials, submitting marks, as well as how to prepare for moderation process. The web address for this page is shown on the screen now. The learner's mark for the NEA and the EA are combined to give a final mark. The overall grades are determined by comparing combined final marks with the grade boundaries set for that series. Last year's grade boundary information can be found in each subject's Chief Examiner and Chief Moderator report. On this slide, you'll see an overview of the main changes. As all the information underpinning this information can be found in the tutor guidance and sample assessments available on the NCFE website on the qualification specific pages. Please also check these useful documents for further information. We'll now share what further support is available from us. Our YouTube VCERT playlist has a number of recorded support CPD and guidance sessions for you to access at a suitable time. Our customer support team are there to support you with any questions related to using the portal and live assessment queries. The Preparing for Moderation webpage provides you with all the information you need about the moderation process, explaining how sampling works and how the final marks for each learner in the cohort are determined. And finally, the link for future CPD and support sessions is the final link shown here. We're here to help you deliver the qualifications. We welcome questions at our drop-in clinics and support sharing best practice. Please do get involved in our live events. We also welcome feedback on the support we provide. Please scan the QR codes on the screen now to let us know how useful you found this recording. Many thanks for your time. Bye.